A janitor from Vermont died with $8 million. No inheritance, no lottery, no side hustle, just a gas station paycheck, a JCPenney mop, and a used Toyota Yaris held together by patience. Meanwhile, a McKinsey director worth $100 million ended up in federal prison. Because $100 million wasn't enough. Same planet, same economy, wildly different outcomes. There's a book that explains why. It's called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and it sold over 10 million copies for a reason. I read the whole thing, then I did something kind of reckless. I tried to actually live by it. Every principle, every day, for 30 days straight. Some of it changed how I think about money forever. Some of it was brutally hard, and one lesson nearly broke the entire experiment. We'll get to that. Here's the thing most people miss. This book isn't really about investing, it's about behavior. Housel's core argument is that doing well with money has very little to do with how smart you are, and almost everything to do with how you behave. And the data backs him up. Right now, 67% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck. That includes 38% of people earning over $100,000 a year. Read that again. People making six figures can't make it to the end of the month. The problem isn't math. It's psychology, so I picked the 5 most actionable principles from the book and turned each one into a weekly rule. Here's what happened. Week 1, Rule 1, define your number. Housel dedicates an entire chapter to the concept of enough. He uses the story of Rajat Gupta, a man who rose from being an orphan in India to running McKinsey, one of the most powerful consulting firms on the planet. By 2008, Gupta had amassed over $100 million, but he was surrounded by billionaires, and $100 million started to feel small. So he passed inside information to a hedge fund manager, got caught, got convicted of 4 counts of securities fraud in 2012, sentenced to 2 years in prison, fined $5 million, $100 million, and he threw it away, chasing more. For my experiment, I sat down on day 1 and wrote a single number on a piece of paper. Not a dream number, not a flex number, this is actually enough number. The annual income where I'd genuinely stop wanting more. It was harder than I expected. Because every number I wrote, my brain immediately said, yeah, but what about? That's the trap. Housel calls it the moving goalpost. And it's the reason some of the wealthiest people on Earth still feel broke. The rule for week 1. Every time I wanted to buy something, I had to ask one question. Is this moving me toward my enough or away from it? I said no to a lot of things that week. And weirdly, none of them mattered by Friday. Now, if defining enough was hard, the next principle hit my wallet directly. But before that, remember that janitor I mentioned at the start? His strategy connects directly to beat 4. Hold that thought. Week 2, Rule 2, track every dollar you didn't spend. This is the lesson that makes people uncomfortable. Housel draws a hard line between being rich and being wealthy. Rich means high income, visible cars, watches, restaurants. Wealthy means high savings. Invisible, boring, powerful. Here's a stat that should terrify you. The average American spends more than a third of their paycheck within 12 hours of receiving it. Before lunch on payday, the money is already gone. The US personal savings rate right now is 3%. The historical average is 8.36%. We're saving less than half of what we used to. So for week 2, I flipped the script. Instead of tracking what I spent, I started tracking what I chose not to spend. Every time I resisted an impulse buy, a coffee, an app, a limited time deal, I wrote down the amount. By day 14, that invisible number was $412. $412 I would have spent without thinking. Money that would have disappeared into the void of convenience. That's not discipline, that's just awareness. And awareness is free. Here's something that surprised me during research. We've all heard the stat that money can't buy happiness past $75,000 a year. That was Daniel Kahneman's famous 2010 finding. Turns out he was wrong, or at least incomplete. In 2023, Kahneman himself co-authored an updated study. For most people, happiness keeps climbing with income all the way up to $500,000. But, and this is important, for the unhappiest 20% of people, no amount of money past 100 grand made any difference. Money doesn't fix misery, it amplifies whatever's already there. Week 3, Rule 3, automate one saving and name it freedom. Housel's most powerful chapter argues that the highest dividend money pays isn't returns. It's control over your time. Think about it. The ability to wake up and say, I don't want to do this today, and actually have the option not to. That's not retirement, that's freedom. And it's available way before 65, so I set up an automatic transfer, $20 a week, pulled out before I could touch it, into an account I literally named Freedom. Is $20 a week going to make me rich? No. But that's not the point. The point was rewiring what saving feels like. Most people associate saving with sacrifice, with giving something up. I wanted to associate it with gaining something. Every deposit was a tiny vote for a future where I have more choices. By day 21, that account had $60 in it. Meaningless financially. But psychologically, it changed the entire game, because for the first time, I was saving towards something that actually excited me. Not retirement at 67, not an emergency, freedom. But here's where the experiment almost fell apart. Because the next principle required me to do the one thing our brains are hardwired to resist. Week 4, Rule 4. Do nothing. This is the Ronald Read principle. Remember the janitor? Here's how he built $8 million. He bought blue-chip dividend stocks. Things like Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase. And he held at least 95 different positions. But his real edge wasn't stock picking. It was time. He started investing in his 30s, and he never stopped. Never panicked. Never sold during a crash. Just held. For 60 years. And here's the fact that puts it all in perspective. Warren Buffett started investing at age 11. He's been at it for over 80 years. And roughly 97 to 99% of his current net worth, somewhere between $140 and $160 billion, was accumulated after his 65th birthday. Let that sink in. The greatest investor alive didn't make his fortune by being brilliant in his 20s. He made it by being alive and invested in his 90s. Compounding isn't a strategy, it's a calendar. So for week 4, my rule was simple. Don't touch anything. Don't check my portfolio. Don't react to any headline. Don't optimize. It was the hardest week of the entire experiment. Every notification screamed at me to do something. But the science is clear. The real money is made in the waiting. The final lesson. Be reasonable, not rational. This is the one that ties everything together. And honestly, the one I almost missed. Housel makes a subtle but important distinction. The financial world worships rationality. Spreadsheets, optimization, maximum efficiency. But humans aren't spreadsheets. The most rational portfolio in the world is worthless if you panic sell during a downturn. The most rational budget means nothing if you abandon it after 2 weeks because it makes you miserable. The better goal. Be reasonable. Choose a financial strategy that you can actually sustain when life gets hard. Not the one that scores highest on a calculator, the one you'll still be running in 10 years. That's why Ronald Read beat the professionals. He wasn't optimizing, he was enduring. And that's what these 30 days taught me. Not a single principle in this book requires a finance degree. Not one requires a high salary. The entire framework boils down to 5 things. 1. Know when you have enough. 2. Build wealth in silence, not in status. 3. Save for freedom, not for stuff. 4. Let time do the heavy lifting. 5. Be reasonable enough to keep going. I didn't get rich in 30 days. That's not the point. But I rewired how I think about money, and according to a book that 10 million people have read, that's the only thing that actually matters. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most financial advice fails not because it's wrong, but because it's designed for robots. The psychology of money works because it's designed for humans, messy, emotional, irrational humans who need a plan they can actually stick to. 30 days isn't enough to change your net worth. Research suggests real habit change takes about 66 days, but 30 days is enough to change your perspective. And perspective is where every financial transformation starts. If this changed how you think about even $1, leave a comment with the principle that hit you hardest. I'm genuinely curious which one it is. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone stuck on the paycheck-to-paycheck treadmill, or someone who's never defined their enough, send them this video. Sometimes the right idea at the right time is all it takes. Subscribe if you want more experiments like this. I'll see you in the next one.